Guys, hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Revisiting History, and you're here with me, Daito Rambiki. We're in Malawi, the warm heart of Africa, and we'll be revisiting the history of Malawi today. And as our site, as you can see, this is a very beautiful morning, a very beautiful country, a very beautiful city, and we'll be talking about how Malawi was involved in the World War, the First World War, and about the first president, Dr. Hastings Kamuzu Banda. Oof, what an exciting day. A beautiful morning. I'm so excited to talk about the history of Malawi with you guys today. So let's go to the site. So this site is located in Lilongwe, as I mentioned earlier on, at the very heart of the city in Area 18. So Lilongwe is at the central region of the country, and it's not that hard to find because the tower is usually seen from all angles of the city, and here when you go to the tower at the top, you get to see the view of the town itself. And so some of you may wonder how Malawi was involved in the First World War, as it is a small country, and back then, due to slave trade and discrimination of the blacks, they were not considered to be competing with other powerful countries. So you might wonder how such a small country was involved in the war. As some of you may know, Malawi was a British protectorate. Just translate to that Malawi was colonized by the British Empire, and it became part of the Rhodesian part of the Federation of Rhodesia, which included the Northern Rhodesia and Southern Rhodesia, which are Zambia and Zimbabwe in today's history. And back then, Malawi used to be called Nyasaland, but before it became to be known as Nyasaland, it was just called the British Central Protectorate. And today we'll see the names of the brave soldiers that were involved in the First World War, as their names were engraved here at the tower in Area 18, Malawi. So this tower was built by the late president, Dr. Bingu Mutharika, in 2007. That should be, I think, in November. That's when this tower was introduced, and people knew how the country Malawi was involved, because I think most Malawians didn't even know how if their country was involved in this big war. Hence, after this tower was built, that became it became as an opportunity for most of the Malawians to know how their country was involved in such history. So under the British rule, an army, a club known as the Nyasaland Volunteer Reserve was introduced. So that club was only a rifle shooting club, meaning they were not involved in any trainings or any military activities. But later in 1914, when the war began, this club was given the permission to be involved in military activities and different military activities. Therefore, a uniform, a khaki uniform, was introduced, and they began training. And when the First World War started in 1914, they were involved in the assault and attack of a German steamship called the Heimann von Wiesmann, which was attacked in Hafen. Sorry for my pronunciation, but yeah, the steamship called Heimann von Wiesmann, which was attacked at the Hafen, which is in Tanzania. In this attack, the Germans were defeated by this group, and this became the first naval attack, which is known as the Battle of Karonga. So this is known as the Battle of Karonga because it took part in the northern side of Malawi, which includes Karonga district. So this became known as the Battle of Karonga. But later in the years, the Nyasaland Volunteer Reserve was known as it became known as the King's African Rifle, because the Nyasaland Volunteer Reserve only had few units, and it was considered to be very small. So they mated with the King's African Rifles, and later in some years they were also involved in controlling the Chilembwe Rising, which was led by John Chilembwe. And John Chilembwe is known for talking against colonialism here in Malawi, and he led an uprising, I think in 1914, the same year, in 1914, if I'm not mistaken. But he led an uprising against colonialism here in Malawi, and these King's African Rifles assisted in controlling the uprising of John Chilembwe. So you can see here we can of those who were a part of the King's African Rifles. Here are the names of those who were involved. So they include those who were killed in action, those who died of wounds. They even included those who died of disease, as you can see, and the total. So the difference, as you can see, this is the whole. There's quite a lot of names. There's a lot of names, and here's the stone that indicates the memorial tower. This memorial tower was conceived designed and officially opened by Dr. Mutharika, and also down there is Dr. Hastings Kamuzu Banda. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to go near that statue, but that's the first president of the Republic of Malawi. So he led Malawi to independence in 1964, and the Malawi Congress Party, and in 1966 he made Malawi a republic. But then during those years they used to have a one-party system under the Malawi Congress Party, and later in the 1990s Malawians went against his rule, as he was known to be harsh and his other officials were known to be harsh, and thousands of people were killed under his rule. So in the 1990s, people rose against him to introduce the multi-party system. So after the uprising, Dr. Muluzi won during the time that they were voting. Dr. Muluzi won, and that was the beginning of the multi-party system. And in 1997, Dr. Hastings Kamuzu Banda died, and